Hello and welcome to another segment on Snake Repair. In this bit, we're going to be sort of diagnosing and upgrading a very old international version of a Dell Studio 1569. And this laptop is quite modular as they were made pre-2015. And the only quirk with this one is it uses not only a proprietary Dell battery, but a massive, hard-to-come-by battery. When I mean hard to come by, I don't mean that lightly. I mean eBay doesn't have it, Amazon doesn't have it, and even my efforts on AliExpress and Alibaba have come up empty. Suppliers have lied about their inventory stock. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to clean it up, we're going to upgrade it, but the battery, which is bloated and it doesn't even register in the computer, it's so bad, will not be done in this video. We actually purchased another used unit in the mail, so we're going to swap out some shell components and take the battery from it then. We're hoping that maybe this battery can be rebuilt, but it's a very niche and specialized process of rebuilding lithium-ion batteries because they blow up. So let's, without further ado, let me just show you guys. It does indeed turn on. I believe this was purchased in India, and so it does have an international charger with an adapter. I don't know exactly what they call it. European charger with the big giant prongs, and they think it's better somehow. I don't know. So one more time. There's a light. Dell logo. And yes, there's the battery error. So we're just going to click F1 to continue. I'll turn this off now. Okay, it's off. What we're upgrading, I can't believe I didn't say that. We have here a i7, what is this, 820QM, I believe, first generation. We have 8 gigabytes of DDR3, 1333 megahertz RAM. We have a 250 gigabyte SSD, and we've got stickers. All right. And if you notice this guy here, we're also actually going to upgrade the motherboard to the version that comes with discrete graphics. So I know what you're thinking. It's probably not even worth it at this point, but it's not about worth it. It's about can, and it's about green, I don't know, recycle, don't add to the landfill type crap. So we got a bit of work to do here. And as for the screen, I'm very surprised, but it doesn't look like there's actually a dual channel cable for this particular laptop socket connector it has. Go ahead, flip it over. In this case, you don't need to unplug the battery, but in general, if you had this monstrosity of a laptop battery, you had to unplug it. Go ahead and set it aside. Get out your toolkit or whatever you're using. I'm pretty sure there's just Phillips on this thing, maybe some Torx on the motherboard, but we'll see. So there's 2 inside the battery cavity. Take those out. And what you're seeing here is some kind of protective tape securing the components and circuitry on the trackpad. And it is supposed to look like this. It is like a little bit beat up, but of all the models I've seen online, that's just what it looks like. So those 2 screws, set them aside. This is the Wi-Fi, and if you had a cellular card door, in this model they didn't add on the second slot. It's just wireless. Set the door aside, and another door for the RAM. And I guess first gen processors only supported 8 gigabytes. I didn't know that, but it can only address 4 gigabytes per channel, so that's disappointing. And there is some corrosion on this stick here. This laptop's seen better days, but yeah, if you can see that, that's not good. But it does still work, and that's really surprising, actually. So that's a 2 GB stick, and then here's a 4 GB stick. Oh no, it has another 2 GB stick. Okay, so we won't use either of them because we gotta go balls to the walls. Go ahead and unattach the aux or coaxial cables. There's just one screw holding the Wi-Fi card in. Unscrew that, and you can slide it out. Next, I guess we're just going around the perimeter. 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are all the same, so don't worry about mixing them up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there is this guy right here. I don't know what this, if you can see it. There you go. There's like a rounded square, and it's a slightly shorter screw. I think some screws might have been mixed up on here. There's no reason for this screw to be as short as it is here. I actually think this was for the display assembly from how it looks. And if you look on the top here, whoever disassembled this last, all 4 corners have, you know, protruding screw marks. So probably need to swap those out. But yeah, you know, everyone's a technician, you know. So those are all out. Now we need to take off the palm rest. And I believe we have to actually take off, there's 3 parts, the sort of speaker and frame, the keyboard, and then the palm rest assembly. So let's go ahead and get out a spudger, see if you can't. Yeah, just like that. And so don't yank it out. You know, there's going to be some kind of cable attached still here. And you just work this around. Alrighty, and then it goes towards the screen. That's the way the little clips are set up. And then if you can see right here, there is both for, no, it's not for the speaker. It's just the power button board, daughter board. So let's get that up. The speakers are underneath, and they're already plugged in somewhere else. Great. Yep, there's the board. Set it aside. There is room for 2 screws to secure the keyboard to the rest, but there isn't actually a hole on the frame underneath here. So you just have to worry about this one screw right here. And it is a little bit smaller than the rest, so make sure you are kind of keeping these guys separate from each other. And I mean, the actual width of the screw is smaller as well. And so there's going to be like clips along the side. You're just going to get underneath it and just pop it out. And don't yank it. You know there's going to be ribbon cables underneath here. So pull it towards you a little bit, and we have one for the backlight and one for the actual key data. So take your spudger for the backlight and pop that up. That came up easy. And the other one is not a normal ribbon cable socket. It's one where you push on both sides away from the socket, not just flip up. And once you do that, you probably have to jimmy with it. You can just pull it out. Great. Look at that. And you can't really even see that smiley face, but it's there in spirit. Set it aside. We're done with that. We have one ribbon cable here for the what looks like the trackpad. Pop that up. You don't need to worry about this guy right now. And we have screws to tend to. We have 1, 2, and this one is holding down the fan as well. 3, 4, 5. Don't think there's any more. Okay, great. Take your trusty spudger and start finding a nice spot to get in and just pop it up. There shouldn't be anything just securing the palm rest to the rest of the laptop anymore. And like I said, this thing is so old, you just gotta find one opening and the rest will come pretty naturally. And then they kind of hook underneath like this. So lift from the back and pull up. Set it aside. Next, let's take the hard drive out. And yes, it is certainly a hard drive. You get this cable out of the way here. This looks like the daughter board for side panel I/O. I don't think for audio, maybe a mic / speaker, and then a USB. Yeah, it's dirty. So just kind of get that out of the way. Probably don't need to. And then there's going to be 4 screws securing the hard drive bracket to the bottom case. Okay, well, there's one missing there. I don't know if that's intentional. A lot of times it is intentional. That's how they ship it from factory. I don't know why. But, once you get your 3 or 4 screws off, and you set them aside. Now, lift from the back, and it is still connected. And just get your fingers in there and hold it. And pop it out. HGST, 500 gigabytes, 5400 RPM, sat at 6 gigabytes per second. Not that it can take advantage of that, but that is impressive on a 10-year-old drive. So you can go ahead and take the screws off of it now if you're putting in an SSD, which if you're not in this day and age, in 2019, you gotta rethink your life because they are cheap and you will know what you're missing until you switch. Okay. Free. Set it aside. Yeah, and this is that black tape we were seeing on the other side. Here's the front side of it here. So it's some reflective tape, maybe help with interference with the battery and whatnot. So next, well, we got to take everything off because we're upgrading this motherboard here. So as you can see right here, these are empty VRAM pads. We're getting discrete graphics. So there's going to be something there, I believe, on this side, or maybe just the other side of our new board. Sometimes it's both, I don't know. So we got to take this out. Go ahead and take out the fan. Man, this thing's dirty. I'm going to blow it out when we're done. And then there's the fan connector. Okay. One more screw. Okay, it's coming out. It's time. Your time has come. Set the fan aside. We will need that again, unfortunately. We'll blow it out, though. So this is kind of cool. This, we're not doing anything with the optical bay again. The person has no need for the extra storage, and they'd like to keep the option of CDs open, and they also don't want a Blu-ray drive. But this is the same kind of drive that the MacBook Pros use, in the sense that it's called a slot load, not a tray loading. So nothing comes out. You actually just put it right into the laptop. So I always thought that was a bit more elegant. So lift it slightly and pull away. Yeah, and actually this looks like a 9.5, or is it 9.7? I don't know, but it's the smaller of the two. So this will actually fit right into a MacBook Pro circa 2008 to 2012 if you just take off this side bracket here. It's held together with some screws. So that's cool. We'll start with this one. And judging by this one, it looks like we might have to do some digging because this one has 2 screws with, a kind of gasket to help not have any rattling noise in your sound. Oh, there's a gasket on this side. There's not on that side. No. Oh, okay. So underneath the LVDS cable, screen cable, there is just one more screw here. And we needed to take that off anyway. Yeah, I haven't seen that type of connector again. Great. That's probably going to be a lost cause, looking for a cable that'll fit that. And dual channel. Good. Okay, we don't actually have to take this whole thing out, because... Really? The cables for the speakers are running all the way down the side underneath this weird cavity they made, some tape, and they're plugging into this daughter board that was for side I/O. But yeah, seeing how there's your sound out down here for headphone and mic, of course, it made a little bit of sense plugging into there, I guess. Ugh. So I'll just have to hold this with my hand when I spray the shit out of this thing. Okay, these screws are not just securing this SATA, mini SATA port to the board, they're actually holding down the board. So we can put those aside. So this is, I hope this isn't going to be a problem. We'll have to see. But this is the Bluetooth adapter. It's separate from the Wi-Fi card, which, again, this is typical practice on older laptops. So I don't know. The one we're adding has Bluetooth as well. We might have to just unplug this. I don't know. We will see. So now we have, I guess, just this one screw in the corner. We have a couple cables like this guy that are still connected underneath. One over here. So there were some little nubs here. You need to kind of pull it towards you and get it around it. I'm still feeling some tension. Oh, well, let's unplug whatever this is. Theoretically, you just should pull this away from the board. Yes, great. And, oh, the SATA connection. Ah! Okay. Oh, yeah. So this extra cable is still attached loosely, and that would be for the second Wi-Fi card, or whatever SIM expander thing. So let's get you off. Great. I hope nothing is damaged there. And Okay, just, yeah, you're fine right there. Oh, I guess this was just holding it down with its little adhesive it had. Because we are having a new discrete graphics chip on here, this and some VRAM, we have to use a new heatsink, and it comes off like to here. It's pretty cool, and that was unfortunately kind of a pain to find as well. But you know what? We don't even need to take the processor out. We're not reusing the board, we're not reusing the processor, we're not reusing the heatsink. So this guy's done, and the battery can stay too. Okay, so what we have in front of me is, it just came in the mail. This was the parts laptop, and, well, it looks like it's in a lot better condition than the one we're using. So we're just going to basically be using this guy, and I need to gut it all over again. So, yeah, I'm just going to take care of that. Okay, so now we're at about the same stage that we were before. Our new heatsink assembly with pads and paste pre-attached, and our board. And as you can see by our new board, we have our discrete graphics chip, ATI Mobility Radeon, and some VRAM, and there is, as I suspected, VRAM on the back as well. So let's start off by getting this processor in place, shall we? So this is theoretically supposed to work. If it doesn't, I'll be very upset. I find most of the things I'm doing with laptops, most people haven't attempted before. Which is sad, because what I'm doing is not completely unreasonable. You know, if you could upgrade your laptop like crazy for $200, and it runs faster than a $600 laptop you could buy brand new, why not? I mean, maybe the retail sellback isn't as high as the parts you're putting in, but you have your same laptop. Now we just need to kind of clean up the processor and the graphics chip. Alright, let's get it on. Not in a sexual sense. I really hope this processor works, or else I'm wasting that nice thermal paste. Yeah, just go around the world, screw in each screw a little bit, then begin tightening. Shouldn't need to do more than 2 or 3 passes. Now this got scratched up a little bit here. Huh. I bought this heatsink from NCS Global, and they had a crap ton in stock. And they were the only ones, too. No display. Great. Okay, so this is like an update to the first half of the video, the actual repair. And I almost considered not even posting the video at all, but I figured, well, I got a lot of the core pieces in there, and I figured if I at least put this at the end, I could, rest my conscience. So we got all these upgrades in for the client, and as you can see on the screen, we have the specifications for the base processor in the laptop, which is the 450M, and the upgraded processor, the 640M. And it's not a big performance jump by any means. I mean, they're both dual-core processors. I mean, you get another megabyte of cache and 0.4 gigahertz processing speed. But again, this is dual-core, so it's not that big. But the i7 does turbo higher. But that being said, we just ran into so many problems with this laptop, and initially we thought first, oh, the RAM must be an issue because we had put in 1333 megahertz, and it really only takes 1066, and that should never be a problem. Laptop should be able to downclock, but we were stupid at the time and like, oh, I don't know what's going on. So we got the RAM swapped out, and then after this thing just kept bombing out, we said, all right, it's the CPU. The CPU is running too hot. And if you look, the listed TDPs are the same for both processors, like I thought they would be, or like I guess I looked beforehand at whatever I did this a while ago now, but they're both 35 watts. So I don't know why it won't take it, but I guess it's just a little bit extra to push it over and kill it. So then I also mentioned that we were going to swap out the motherboard for one that features the ATI Radeon graphics. Yeah, you heard me, not AMD, ATI Radeon. This is so old. And we did do that. However, what did we find? The board was defective. Not only was the board defective, the graphics were glitching out, but we thought, oh, cool. So now that we have onboard discrete graphics, we can go ahead and install one of those quad-core QM processors. I said, oh, this is great because the first generation Intel quad-core processors, they don't have integrated graphics. But sure enough, that didn't work at all. And I was really upset. They were upset. We got this board and we got rid of the board because not only did we can't do quad core, the board was defective, so we're not going to keep it anyway. But the fact of the matter was, the quad core did not work in here, so that was a disappointment. And then the third real just disappointment was this laptop again is old. It's designed for Windows 7. It doesn't even have Bluetooth drivers for Windows 10 because this board actually has a discrete Bluetooth chip. I forget where it's located. It's very common on these older ones. I think it might actually be on the other side. But anyhow, a discrete Bluetooth card and then the Wi-Fi card, which would go right there. And man, it's just disgustingly blurry, even zoomed in. So we figured, okay, well, we're going to put in a new Wi-Fi Bluetooth combo card anyway, so it doesn't matter. And we put that in, and it was the AC 7260 dual band BT 4.0, and what did we get? Well, again, like all these laptops and all-in-ones that have basically first gen or even first and second gen with discrete Wi-Fi and Bluetooth controls, like buttons you can click on other than just the software, they don't work right. And there's documentation on the forums of taping down or liquid taping two of the pins on the 7260 to get rid of this problem and to allow you to use it in these older laptops. But what ended up happening was, even after I did that, it didn't help. So I guess it works for some people. It's never once worked for me, this pin trick. So I just don't even bother with this card on the older laptops. And so Bluetooth worked great then, but then the Wi-Fi would only work for a minute and then it would cut out forever until we restart or something stupid with, running diagnostics and the Wi-Fi utility. So we had to choose between, slow Wi-Fi and no Bluetooth, or no Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So in short, we just decided to get rid of the frickin' laptop. It's funny because we actually did manage to source a battery, and the laptop has sold at this point. We did sell the thing, but you know the batteries are like impossible to find. You can't buy these things anywhere. And we were on Alibaba and all these obscure supplier websites and that claimed to have them for sale, and we emailed all of them and said, oh, sorry, we don't actually have any more of those. So this laptop is a lost cause. If you have it, you're stuck with dual core first gen, which means you're also stuck with only 8 gigabytes of RAM. And even if you have the ATI Radeon graphics, which don't help that much, obviously, but it's something, you still can't put in a quad core processor and get up to 16 gigs. And you also will not have Bluetooth in Windows 10 with the stock card. So maybe there's an intermediate card that'll work better. We weren't about to mess around with that. We were trying to upgrade this thing to get it up to, modern day spec, and it just didn't work out. So, yeah, and then the battery. So you can't get a replacement. So once it goes bad, you're tethered to the charger forever. And I guess that's what a lot of people do with their laptops for whatever reason. But in short, I mean, yeah, the SSD helped a lot. 8 gigs of RAM helped. But that's all we were really to do on this laptop, unfortunately. I don't think it supports RAID, but you again, if you wanted to throw in a Bluetooth drive, you could. As far as upgrading the screen, that was a no-go there. There were no compatible cables, and I think it was at this point that I actually looked into making my own cables that have the extra, wires inside required to run a high-res screen, and high-res is considered like 900p and above. But it just wasn't in the interest of time or anything really. I might do that in the future. I'm sure there's a powerful but niche market for that kind of thing. But in short, yeah, this I wouldn't upgrade anything other than the RAM and the hard drive to an SSD or a Blu-ray drive if you really want to. But you can only have the 720p screen, so I don't know why you do a Blu-ray drive. That's all. And if you do have this laptop and your battery is in decent condition, you might consider just selling the battery, and you probably get more than the whole laptop's worth. So that's all, and thank you so much.